Okay, actually, you took care of this. So I just want to add a few words on who we actually are, because I'm going to talk into this agenda from a specific point of view. We are managing domain names. So that's sort of the starting point of everything we do in this field. It's only the domain names. So we are focused on what can we do to fight off scams, etc., from the perspective of the domain name. And that's very important to understand, because we've heard a lot of different kinds of scams so far. We only look at a part of that. So please receive whatever I'm going to say in that context. Well, we have one, as a company, that type of company we have one very, very important role and one very, very critical task that we have to solve. And that is actually to make sure that all the DK domain names are working. You can all imagine what happens if a country's series of domain names is not available. I can say that the least problem is that I'm going to have a new job. The society in Denmark will have bigger problems if we do not solve that. That is our most important job. So up till some years ago, what we actually did as a company was actually to maintain that, make sure that the server was running. We had people, greasing it the right, blah, 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 making the right software, making everything run. Oh, nothing happened. But then some years ago, something actually happened. And I think everyone who has been working within this field for some years has seen some of that. People in the society started to ask, hey, someone needs to do more about safety and security around domain names, around fighting scam and all of those abuses. And certainly, after I have been living quite a easy life, I would say, people were also looking at us, saying, hey, you, DK Hostmaster, you must do more. And we, of course, asked, what? And they said, do something. So we start wondering, what could we actually do to fight off some of the scams that we saw at that point of time? So one of the things that we did was that we tried to make some analysis saying, what kind of problems do we have? At that point of time, and that was in 2017, we made this big analysis where we actually looked into how many of the domain names that we have is involved in some kind of an IPR infringement. And we found out that this was around 0.28%, which is not much. It's not much. But when we then compared it to which ratio of all the different web shops that we actually had on the DK domain names, then certainly the percentage was around 7%. 14 web shops that you are entering is actually selling some kind of a counterfeit product or making another kind of scam. Huge problem. So what did we do? Well, we said, okay, we need to find a way to fight off those who actually are abusing our domain names. And the tool that we have in our box was to start actually demanding that everyone who have a DK domain name should document their identity. In Denmark, that's quite easily done when you are Dane. We have a big national registry where you can actually document your identity. For foreigners, this is more complicated. And guess what? The ratio of Danes among those who actually misused the DK domain names was not very large. The number of Chinese in that group was at that point of time very high. But by demanding actually that they should document their identity, and we found some patterns. We made a little machine that we actually have up and running today to find out which patterns do we see, and those who match those patterns are asked to document their identity. We actually got this figure to fall quite dramatically. This is still in place, and we do not see serious problems with abuse of that kind anymore. We removed more than 3,000 fake web shops at that point of time. We see, of course, still all kinds of fraud on DK domain names, but that's done with by someone with open eyes, you could say. They admit that they're a criminal. What we have in Denmark is that we have still an open whois, for those of you who know what that is. Does it make anyone say, okay, I know what the who is? Okay, there is probably one or two, so I will make a brief explanation of that. A who is where you can actually see who owns or who have the right to that domain name. Due to GDPR, this was closed down in many countries, so that you cannot easily find out who actually is the one having the right to this domain name. In Denmark, this is still open because we have a domain act stating that we are obliged to inform everyone about who has the right. This is our strongest weapon against that kind of fraud right now. So this has been quite a step for us to do it. But the problem is when you do stuff like that, then people keep looking at you. And then they say, hey, you did something, now you need to do more. And since we are a highly regulated company, the one regulating us say actually, now you need to do even more. And one of the problems that we have in Denmark is that some of the most commonly used security technologies you can use on your website or you can use on your mail server, they are not that used. So the legislators in Denmark said, hey, you need to do something about that. So we have developed some tools for that. We called it Safe on the Net. It's a little tool where you can check actually if you are the one holding a domain name. I don't know how many in here have a domain name. Okay, and how many is actually running a website? Okay, then we say to you, every one of you, it's you who has the responsibility actually to make sure that what you are offering to the world around you must be safe and secure. That's your responsibility. So we have been building this tool together with someone else here in the Netherlands, actually, that actually where you can actually test this website. Does it actually use what you should be using to provide this security for others? Now you can go home and try it. It actually gives a fairly indication on how safe is whatever you offer to the surroundings, you could say. And the philosophy behind that is that, and this is now you should prepare the basket, because this is a critical time on the day. It's now 15:20. We are getting low on sugar. So we are running this. Yes, exactly. We are running this after the concept of licorice candy. I don't know how many of you know about that concept. If not, you do it in a moment. It's candy like this that is built up of small layers of different tastes. If you have one layer, well, it's not that much. But if you have the full package, it actually tastes very, very, very nice. And that's exactly the same with all of these small technologies that you can apply on your web page and you can apply on that. The implementation of this, the use of this has been quite successful, seen from our perspective, and that has sort of led to the future for what we're going to do now as a next step. And that's actually in the making right now, and probably now I'm going to reveal the real reason why I have been invited to come today. This check on the net, which means that you can check how things are on the net, is actually developed and powered by someone called ScamAdviser. I don't know if that's a coincidence, but that will be our next initiative. Actually, to give a tool to the people in Denmark saying, if you receive a mail or something, and you don't know if it's okay to press this link, you can take it. You can put it in this tool. It can make a little analysis for you, and you come up with an indication saying, we think it's fairly okay to press this button. So our responsibility from, just being the one running the .dk thing, making sure that everything is in the zone, etc., will change. We need to do more. And actually, I think it's the role of a modern registry, as we are called, to do so. There is a call for action in the society all around the world where everyone should actually participate in that. So that's our way of doing that. That said,